So what is Ask iManage? It's what we're here to know. Essentially, it's an AI assistant that's built into iManage Work. It's going to help users to search, summarize, extract and analyze knowledge and content a lot faster and hopefully more accurately. And as we said, it runs directly inside iManage Work, so there's no need to open a separate tool or learn complex prompts. Ask iManage is designed to support common knowledge workflows without requiring technical skills or even changes to where you already work. Ask iManage, it helps you to skip the repetitive, time-consuming work, which means you can find, summarize, extract, analyze content just with a single click. So you can focus on strategic work, not just busy tasks like all the stuff that's filling our screen right now. And important to note that because it is actually secured and governed inside your existing DMS with your data, Ask iManage gives your teams access to AI without creating new risk and having to introduce new platforms or new data sources as well. So you can be confident that your data is still safe in the iManage cloud environment. So this is a bit busier. So what is it? So as we said, it's an AI assistant embedded in iManage Work. We use natural language to interact with our content. It works across all of the documents in our iManage DMS library. It provides evidence or citations for answers it gives us. It's going to maintain the security model that you've got sitting in your DMS today, and it eliminates manual searching and document by document review. So some of the things we can do with Ask iManage, we can just have a general chit chat or a chat with documents or multiple documents of content in the DMS. We can do summarization, comparison. We can ask across multiple documents. It provides suggestions for how you might interact with a document, so you don't have to start with a blank slate. And of course, we can use the Ask iManage search agent to get better results when we're trying to find information in our document store. I'm going to cover how Ask iManage lives inside WorkWeb, how you work with prompts and chats, suggestions, saved questions, etc. We'll look at how you can ask queries across multiple documents, the concept of projects in Ask iManage. We'll look at document comparison, that search agent, and if I get time, I'll show you how Ask iManage works inside Microsoft Word. So just going to flick over to our demonstration page here. Hopefully this is very familiar to everybody. This is iManage WorkWeb. This is our demonstration environment, but it should be the same for all of our customers that are in cloudimanage.com today. We've got our recent document list, of course, our preview pane, and you might notice a couple of new tabs here. We've got our Ask iManage tab up here in the details pane, and we've got an Ask iManage tab up here along with all of the other recent smart tabs as well. So what's important here is that Ask iManage is wherever you're working, whether you're in your recent documents list, you can click on the Ask iManage tab and start a conversation with that document, whether you run a search or whether you're actually just browsing through a workspace to a folder, and you can start interacting with a document using Ask iManage. So what I'm going to look at here is this updated Drake East employment agreement document, and I've clicked on the Ask iManage tab in my details pane, and you'll notice I've got a number of prompt tiles which are giving me some options of how I might want to interact with this document. Different prompt types have different outcomes. For example, if you click Overview, it's going to generate an overview of that document, which helps you to understand the content and the meaning of that document without having to open it and read the whole thing. It's actually acting on the document live. So as it's going through, the model is consuming the text, understanding what it is, and putting together an answer for me that's going to help me to better understand that document. So whilst some of these activities might seem like they take a few seconds or take longer than they should, it's much quicker and much more efficient than having to open up those documents yourself and then understand them and read through them. So you can see there's that overview that's created for me. Some other things I can do is just have a general chit chat with the document. I can ask questions. I can also save them. If there's questions that I use quite commonly or quite regularly, I can actually save them into my personal question library, so I don't have to retype out these prompts every single time I want to do something. And I can also select different formats. So the answers that I'm getting from Ask iManage could be in a list or a table or a paragraph, or I could ask for concise or expanded detail level. So again, all of these features within Ask iManage help you to get the information you want without having to create complex prompts to format the way the data is coming out. But of course, you can do that if you wanted to. Examples here, I can hit the summarize button. Summarization, it's going to read the document and give me some suggestions about what sort of questions I might want to ask. So I'm going to click that one, summarize the terms related to the employee's start date and salary. And it's going to go ahead and run that prompt against that document and give me the answer. Another interesting tool is using the chronology. So this is obviously a fairly basic document, but if you had a very large document with some reports or say deposition or a timeline of events, I can use that chronology feature to go and read that document and give me a concise list of events that have occurred in that particular document or group of documents. So you can see in this example, it's got a various number of dates when things have occurred. That is going to help me. You'll notice here these what we call evidence pills. And these are the citations I referred to before, where I can always click on those and see where inside the document it actually got this information from. And that gives me a lot of confidence in the answers that I'm getting from Ask iManage. Okay. Now I want to move on to the concept of question lists. So you'll see this button here in my Ask iManage tab. If there is a common list of questions that I might ask of a document, whether it's an employment agreement or a lease agreement or any document type, it might be handy for me to have either a personal or shared list of questions that I can ask of a document very quickly. And this is handy for new starters or juniors in your organisation who might want to be able to understand or consume or come up to speed with a particular document type, and we can give them a predefined list of questions that they should be asking of a document. And Ask iManage is going to ask them on behalf of that user and give them the answers quickly. So you can see here the question list has gone through. It's asked, what's the salary, what's the confidentiality information, are there any key risks, and of course it's provided those evidence pills or citations where it's getting that information from as well. Now that's all very well and good behaving or acting against these single documents. I might actually want to ask a lot of questions across a number of different documents. So I can select a few documents here. I'm going to do 4. And you can see Ask iManage has realised that I've selected multiple documents. So it's asking me, do I want to start a conversation with those 4 documents or do I want to start a review? So I'm going to go ahead and start a review with those 4 documents. You can see it's taken me out to the projects page. It's giving me, by default, a little mini summary and a classification of the documents in my list. And I can actually go here to choose, hey, I actually want to select that employment agreement question list against those 4 documents. So it's going to go ahead and ask all of those questions in the employment agreements question list against each of those documents. While I'm here, let's just see how we can navigate around this projects view. You can see I've got various different chats or projects I've used in the past. I've got my chat pane, which I can use to ask specific questions across all of the documents which are in my project here. And you can see the question list is finished. I've got all of the various different answers to the questions for each of those individual documents with the citations. If they're detailed answers, I can pop them out and expand them. And of course, I can export these out to a Word or a Excel file so I can share it with somebody else or use it to start a list or something like that. As far as asking across is concerned, once I've got those documents, I might want to think of something like, what's the average salary across these agreements? So Ask iManage is going to go and extract information from these documents. So what is the salary amount? You can see it's grabbing that information there. It's going to take that information from each document. Have a think about what that means as far as a average is concerned. and it's going to go ahead and show me that information. So it's given me what information is collected, which documents it's got it from, anyone where there's no data available, which I think is important, and then it's given me an average salary with citations and evidence pills as well. Next thing I want to do quickly is this concept of document comparison. So let's have a look at that employment folder again. I've got this Drake East employment agreement, and I've got an updated version. Again, when I pop over to my Ask iManage tab, it's going to recognise that I've got a number of documents selected, and I'm going to say compare these documents. So I've got the original document, the revised document, and notice it's asking me whether I want to compare with track changes accepted or not. So I'm going to say yes to that. So that's going to pop me out to my review and run that comparison for me. Again, it's having to read the content of those documents. While it's doing that, I can see the mini summaries as provided in the classification that it's given me. It's going to find all the different changes in those two documents, and then it's going to pop me out to a redlined version that I can start interacting with. Now, a lot of our customers are already using a comparison tool, and all of these tools have merit in their own right, and they're going to have strengths and weaknesses that are going to suit the way that your business operates. So, just to give an example of how this works, we've got all the different clauses in that document that it's found changes. So it's given me the red lines, and it's given me a description of what the change is. It's categorized the change, whether it's administrative, classification, commercial, etc. It's given me a description of how it thinks that change impacts the document or the contract, and the severity as to what we need to do with it. And of course, once I've finished that, I can export it out to a Word table, the whole red line document out to a Word document or a PDF as well. Now, moving on to that concept of the search agent. So looking at that project navigation, I can start a new chat with Ask iManage. And this is where I can start getting really creative, or just do a general search across our entire library using the agentic search or the search agent concept. So what I'm going to do here is grab some text for you. So find all POE documents in iManage. So this search agent is going to take my prompt and say, right, what's a POE? And it knows that that's a power of attorney. So it's going to use keywords or phrases that are related to power of attorney in the document description, in the content of the document, or even in the metadata of the document to try and find them. As you can see, it's going to think, and it's going to show us the steps it's taking to get that information. And there you go. It's found a number of power of attorney documents in my library. It's given some examples of how it's found them and why it's classified them as power of attorney documents. And of course, here's all the references to those documents. And I can act on these. I can select them and start a review. I can actually see all of the sources that it's found and the links back to the documents or workspaces as they exist. Or I can start actioning on those search results that I've found. So in this example here, I'm asking it to extract all of this information from each of those power of attorney documents and put them in a table for me. So it's going to go ahead and read all of those documents, understand which parts or which data points inside that document match the data that I've asked for, and then put them into a table so then I can do something more interesting with them. When we're acting on these search results, I could have selected just a couple of the search results or all of them, or I could have started a new search and started asking Ask iManage to, perform rationalization, extract data from them, summarize them, do comparisons. It really is just a Q&A and a chat with the content inside your iManage library. You can see the thinking section shows us what it's actually doing, how it's rationalizing or making inferences as to what I've asked for and what steps it needs to take inside the iManage library, and the time it's saving you by having to go through all of these documents, look at the information, write them down in a spreadsheet or a notepad, and then bring them back together in a usable format. Just give that a couple of seconds. Again, I mentioned before, sometimes when these AI tools, and it doesn't matter whether it's Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude, or Ask iManage, they all sometimes feel like they're taking a bit of time to get the results that we want. But I think we'll all agree that that's a much quicker way of, extracting, reviewing a large number of documents and getting information out of them, which would have taken me perhaps hours to do if I was doing it manually myself. So here's that structured extraction of the data points I've asked for from those various different documents, citations as to where it got that information from, and again, the reference documents for me to look at. So that's the asking questions. Next thing I want to look at just quickly is Ask iManage in Microsoft Word. So here's my document that's been checked out from iManage Work, and I've popped out this Ask iManage tab, and you'll notice I can just pick up that conversation I've been having with this document from Ask iManage in the Work web interface as well. And I can do summarization, I can do chronologies, question lists as well, but also I might want to do something like, hey, please rewrite the relevant sections specifying what we will relocate them to, but starting salary will reduce by 5,000. So you can see it's found the section in this document, it's understood what it is, and given me a suggested revised text that I can cut and paste into my document to make it updated to what I want there. As far as getting you up and running, of course, Ask iManage, very easy to just switch on, but we do understand that enablement and adoption is really important to getting these tools working. So we've come up with some services that we can go along with your Ask iManage subscription. We've got our Launch Accelerator program, which comes in 3 flavors of Foundation, Guided, and Strategic. And then once you've got it up and running and you've got some adoption in your organization, we can come back and help with expanding out your use cases or actually doing some more strategic planning around your AI platforms and solutions around the content that you've got saved in iManage Work. So the objectives of our Launch Accelerator program is essentially to make sure that Ask iManage is up and ready so you can start using it. That includes things like enabling it, making sure it's acting on the content in your library and that sort of thing. We also provide a guided introduction to the platform, which might include some contextual training sessions, and we help your users to begin asking questions and using prompts, and we help you to measure the uptake across a 3-month period. So that's the objectives of that Launch Accelerator services program. Just a bit of an output here. Your success is our priority. iManage has put a lot of effort into providing sets of training materials, videos, Ask iManage for Champions, which some of us are attending tomorrow morning. And also I want you to know that our team's here to help you to come in and understand how a tool like this can work in your organization, how to use prompts, what to expect, what not to expect, and how to message this and build adoption within your organization. So please just ask us if you need help.